What if I told you that Patrick Swayze's greatest love affair wasn't with any Hollywood co-star, but with a magnificent Arabian stallion named Tammen? A bond so deep, so unbreakable, that he would risk his life, fortune, and career for these majestic creatures? This is the untold story of a man who chose hooves over Hollywood fame and whose heart truly belonged in the saddle. Long before Patrick Swayze became America's heartthrob, he was just a Texas boy with dirt under his fingernails and horsehair on his clothes. At age 12, while other kids played video games, Patrick was in the stables at dawn, learning to communicate with horses in their own silent language. His father, Jesse, didn't just teach him to ride, he taught him to listen. "A horse will tell you everything," Jesse would say, "but only if you're worthy of their trust." By 16, Patrick could break wild mustangs that seasoned cowboys feared to approach. But here's what made him different. He never broke their spirit. He earned their partnership. Local ranchers began calling him whenever they had a problem horse, because Patrick had a gift that couldn't be taught. When Hollywood fame came knocking, most actors would have abandoned their rural roots. Not Patrick Swayze. Instead, he used his movie earnings to fulfill his ultimate dream, owning a ranch dedicated to Arabian horses. In 1986, he purchased 20 acres in the California foothills and transformed it into a paradise for these desert-bred warriors. But this wasn't just about owning horses. This was about preserving a bloodline that traced back over 1,000 years. His prize stallion, Tammen, arrived in 1987, a coal-black Arabian with eyes that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. The moment Patrick met Tammen, witnesses described an almost supernatural connection. The horse, known for being aggressive with handlers, immediately calmed under Patrick's touch. It was like watching two old souls recognize each other, recalled his ranch manager. October 1994. Southern California wildfires raged toward Patrick's ranch with terrifying speed. Emergency crews ordered immediate evacuation, but Patrick faced an impossible choice. His 10 Arabian horses couldn't be transported quickly enough. While neighbors fled with their possessions, Patrick made a decision that defined his character forever. He stayed behind with his horses, refusing to abandon them to the flames. For 18 hours straight, he worked alongside firefighters, his hands bleeding from cutting fence lines to create escape routes. When the fire jumped the highway and surrounded his property, Patrick made the heartbreaking decision to open all the gates, setting his beloved horses free rather than letting them perish in flames. As smoke filled the air and embers rained down, Patrick watched his life's work, worth over $500,000, gallop into the wilderness. But he chose their freedom over his financial ruin. Miraculously, when the fires subsided, all 10 horses returned to the ranch on their own. Tammen led them home, as if he knew Patrick had risked everything for their survival. Patrick's devotion to horses went far beyond personal passion. It became a mission of healing. In 1995, he quietly established the Swayze Equine Therapy Foundation, funding programs across the country that used horses to heal broken spirits. He discovered that children with autism, who couldn't connect with humans, formed instant bonds with his gentle Arabian mares. Veterans suffering from PTSD found peace in the rhythmic gait of horses that seemed to understand trauma without judgment. Patrick didn't just write checks. He personally worked with these programs. He'd spend entire weekends at therapy centers, leading sessions where a single horse's nuzzle could break through years of emotional barriers. Patrick believed horses were healers, remembered one therapy coordinator. He said they could see into souls and mend what was broken there. When pancreatic cancer struck Patrick in 2007, doctors told him to rest, to conserve his energy for treatment. Instead, he spent his strongest days in the saddle with Tammen, as if the horse's strength could flow into his weakening body. Even during chemotherapy, Patrick insisted on daily rides. His wife Lisa would find him in the stable at dawn, brushing Tammen's coat and speaking in whispers only the stallion could hear. In his final months, when walking became difficult, Patrick would sit in Tammen's stall for hours, the great horse standing protectively over the man who had devoted his life to their kind. 3 weeks before Patrick passed away, Tammen began exhibiting strange behavior, refusing food, calling out during the night. Animal behaviorists later said the horse was grieving in advance, sensing his human partner's approaching departure. Patrick Swayze died on September 14, 2009, but his greatest legacy wasn't in movie theaters. It was galloping across pastures worldwide. His breeding program had produced champion Arabian horses that carried his bloodline to 6 continents. The Swayze Equine Therapy Foundation continues operating today, having helped over 10,000 children and veterans find healing through horse partnerships. Every life touched proves Patrick's belief that horses don't just carry riders, they carry hope. Tammen lived 3 more years after Patrick's passing, never accepting another rider. The great stallion died peacefully in 2012, and ranch hands swear that on quiet evenings you can still see 2 silhouettes moving as one across the California hills, a man and his horse together forever in the place where love and trust knew no boundaries. Like this video if you believe in the healing power of horses. Subscribe for more stories of extraordinary human-animal bonds that prove love has no limits.